There are three things that are likely keeping you from starting or growing your online business. And these are three things that everybody deals with. But the good news is, if you can name them and overcome them, you can start and grow a profitable online business. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what those three things are. And I think you're going to relate to them if you're anything like me. And I'm going to show you exactly how to overcome them so that you can move forward growing your business. The first thing that keeps people from starting their business is the fear of failure. And the way we put this in our mind is, what if this doesn't work? What if I put all of this work into making content, setting up my lead magnet, building an email list, and then nobody buys my stuff? Nobody buys my courses. Nobody joins my membership community. Nobody takes me up on my offers. Nobody wants my coaching. And this fear can keep us from even getting started. We feel like if I start, there's going to be people who think that I'm a fraud. This is that imposter syndrome. People are going to think that I don't know what I'm talking about. People are going to think that I am somehow like a fake or a phony. And I totally get this. I have dealt with this in different ways my entire life, and especially in my online business. But one thing I've realized is that the opposite of failure isn't success. Failure is part of the process. You have to fail to learn along the way. You try and you fail and you try and you fail until something works, and then you double down on that thing and your business begins to grow. The real failure is to do nothing and stay exactly where you are. Now, for each one of these, I'm going to give you how to work your way through it. How do you work your way out of a sense of dread and delayed action because of failure? The first thing is you have to reframe failure into feedback. In other words, instead of looking at it like a pass-fail situation, I make this piece of content, nobody watches it, therefore I failed. Instead of thinking that way, you think, I made this piece of content and nobody watched it. That's a piece of feedback. Why did they not watch it? Where, if it's a YouTube video, where did they drop off? Right? I have this information in my retention graph inside YouTube Studio. I can see this information. Where do they drop off? What kind of feedback am I getting? And how can the failure be the feedback that I need? If I'm trying something and it's not working, rather than looking at it like I failed and taking that on as my new identity, I find a lot of success in separating myself from the work and saying, this was an experiment that I tried. Did this experiment work? Or did it not? And if it didn't, that's a piece of feedback that I can use for the future. Now, one way to overcome this fear is to pick one small, low-risk way to test your idea. So maybe instead of building a gigantic course that is going to take months for you to build, you build a mini course that you can do in a couple of weeks. So you're able to test the idea with a lower risk to see how it's received and if people are responding to it. Pick something like that and do it. And if it works, then you can scale that effort knowing that that concept, that idea does work. Before we move on to number two, the number two thing holding people back, I want to introduce myself. My name's Lane. This is my channel. I like to help people start online businesses that replace their 9-to-5 income without hustle and grind and having to build a large social media following. I built a multiple six-figure business doing exactly this, and I show people how to do it here on this channel. And if you want a step-by-step guide for how to build an online business in a super simple way, go to lanesebring.com/super simple. The link's in the description. And you can get my super simple guide to starting an online business. It's right down below. Now, speaking of making online business simple, which is one of the things I love to do, especially in my super simple guide, the second thing that holds people back from starting or growing their business is overwhelm. Also known as, I just don't know where to start. We look at everything that there is for us to possibly do, and we think, where do I even begin? And I got to tell you, even in my business now, some 10 years into building an online business, I still have days where I look at it and I say, there's a lot of things that I could do. What do I focus on? And what I have to remind myself is the core things that actually grow my business. Content, which leads to a lead magnet, which puts people on my email list, which gives them an offer. Content, lead magnet, email funnel, offer. Those 4 steps are what this entire thing hinges on. And so every day when I sit down to work on my business, am I building content that gets people into my lead magnet, that puts them on my email list and gives them an offer? What part of that sequence am I building out or improving on or tweaking today? That's one way to think about it. The other way to think about it is to say, where can I start right now? Let's say that you don't have anything built at all. You have to think, what can I do today that moves me forward? It's the old adage of there's an elephant in front of you that you're going to eat, and you can't take a bite and devour the entire elephant. The way you eat an elephant is one bite at a time. And if you take a bite out of the elephant every single day, eventually you will have eaten the elephant. Online business or anything important you're trying to do in life is pretty much the same way. And so my encouragement to you would be to focus on the next right step. What is the next right thing to do? Because overwhelm happens when you're trying to do everything at once. And the solution to that is to simplify. This is why I love a simple business model, like I teach over at lanesebring.com/supersimple in my free guide. Simplicity wins the day. Before I learned how to do online business in this way, I was literally just watching any content I could find on how to grow an online business and doing everything everybody said to do. And at the end of all that, I had a whole lot of overwhelm. I had a whole lot of tools. I had a whole lot of strategies. I made a whole lot of content that didn't point anywhere, that didn't get anybody on my funnel, that didn't sell any products because I was just doing a lot of stuff. And so I don't want that for you. I don't want you to, at the end of the day, just realize I'm really busy and yet none of my goals are coming to fruition. It wasn't until I simplified my approach and I said, content, lead magnet, email funnel, offer, that is really the whole thing. And there's a bunch of different ways to do that and a bunch of different lead magnets that you could have, a bunch of different styles of content that you could do, a bunch of different types of email funnels that you could make, and a lot of different offers that you could make. But at the end of the day, those are the 4 pillars of this whole thing. And once those things are running, it gets a lot simpler. But if none of that's happening, you got to focus on what can I do right now, the next right thing. Maybe it's make a piece of content. Maybe it's build a lead magnet and so on. Starting an online business is like building a house. You don't start building a house by decorating the living room. You build the foundation. And when it comes to online business, your foundation is always going to be who? Who am I serving? How am I helping them and what am I helping them do? Once I understand exactly who, then I start asking, what is this going to look like? How am I building the walls of this foundation? That's maybe content. And then how am I going to put this house together? My lead magnet, my email funnel, my offers that I'm going to make. All of that has to start from the ground up. And so if you're just now starting, really define the who before you move on to anything else. That might help you simplify and reduce some of this overwhelm. And so when it comes to taking a next step, sometimes it's really helpful to share it with others. So if you're comfortable, go down to the comments and share with us, what is your next step? It could be anything. It could be deciding your niche. It could be making a piece of content. It could be uploading a video. It could be finishing the course that you've been building. It could be anything. Just let us know in the comments because sharing it can help you solidify it in your mind and give you more of a push to get it done. Okay, number 3 is a huge one. So far, we have the fear of failure. What if this doesn't work? The second one was overwhelm. I don't know what to do next. And this third one is a big one, lack of time, also known as I'm too busy. This is the classic excuse, right? You bump into anybody. How's it going? Oh, I'm busy. Oh, we're busy. I'm busy. Everybody's busy. We're all busy. And this can be something that can separate those who succeed in life from those who stay stuck. Because those who succeed look at a busy schedule and say, it's not about having enough time, it's about prioritizing the time that I do have. Now, as I say this, I know what you're thinking. If you're anything like me, you're thinking, I've got a job, I've got kids, I've got a million responsibilities. I truly do not have the time. And let me tell you, when I first started this online business, originally my first online business, Preaching Donkey, it started when I was working full-time as an executive pastor at a multi-site church, which included a lot of responsibilities. Now, if you're not familiar with how church work is, pastors don't just, sit in a room and pray all day. There's a lot of work involved and a lot of moving parts and a lot of responsibilities, especially when you're dealing with a church that has multiple locations and a large staff, and I was responsible for a lot of that. So my job was very, very demanding, and it took a lot of my time. And I had 2 kids and then 3 kids and then 4 kids. So we were having kids during this whole time that I was building my online business. And at the same time, I had a social life and a wife and a family and all that. So I had all of the things, the responsibilities. But I had this burning desire to set myself free from one of those things. Not my family, not my wife, not my kids. Actually loved all that. I wanted to be set free from having a job, and particularly having to have a job. I hated having a job, hated having a boss, hated having a schedule, hated having to ask another person for permission to take time off work, hated the fact that when I would go on vacation, I was still thinking about work, still being called into meetings, still reading text messages, stressing out about what's going on there. I hated every single solitary second of being tethered to employment. Now, I want to mention, I didn't hate the church. I didn't hate church work. I didn't hate ministry. I actually still do a lot of church work and ministry, but I do it completely as a volunteer now, which is how I much prefer it. So at this time, I'm wanting to set myself free from my job. And I had two options. One, stay miserable, or two, find the time. Where am I going to find the time when I have all of this? Well, it was early in the morning. That's the way I did it. I would wake up at 5 o'clock. I would be working by 6. I would work from 6 to 8:30 every morning. I'd leave the house at 8:30, be at work by 9, work a full day, take a lot of work home with me, and then do my family responsibilities, put my kids to bed, hang out with my wife, and then sometimes I would work at night. Weekends, I would work. Any ounce of free time that I could squeeze in, I would do it, even if I had to sacrifice and wake up early to do it. And the result was I set myself free from that job, set myself free from the 9 to 5, and built something that today is a multiple six-figure online business that requires very little of my time. Like, I don't live like that at all anymore. I work so much less than I ever have, and I make so much more than I ever have. So this is possible for you, but you have to just decide that the pain of staying in the same situation is worse than the pain of making some sacrifices with your time and choosing to do things when you might be tired or it might not be convenient. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to this, I know I got a little bit preachy, but here is the solution that is simple. Find 30 minutes a day. Doesn't have to be 2.5 hours like I did. Just find a 30-minute block every single day that you can focus on doing the next right thing for your business. Now, there might be some days where you put a couple hours together, and if you can find a time each week where you have some hours that you can put together in a row to work on it, like 2 hours, 3 hours, where you can have focused time to work in your business, do that. But at least every single day, work on your business for at least 30 minutes. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow you to start to reframe your thinking to think, I do have time to work on my business. I am working on my business. I am making progress on it, and I'm doing it every day. So it's fresh on your mind. And then eventually your business will grow and you'll find more time because you'll be able to buy back your time. In other words, you might be able to quit your job like I did. You might be able to hire out some things that you're currently doing. Like for example, do you clean your own house? Well, maybe your business will make enough money where you don't have to clean your own house, mow your own lawn, do all the things that you normally do right now. You can hire that out, have more time for the business. But that's down the road. Right now, what we're thinking about is how do we find 30 minutes a day? For me, it meant waking up early. For you, it might mean staying up late. It might mean cutting your lunch break short. It might mean not going out with coworkers to lunch, but just staying at your desk, eating a sandwich, and working on your business. Whatever works for you, find a way or continue to make the excuse. You decide your future on this, and that's what's cool. Now, I do have a bonus solution that I want to tell you about. With each of these three things, whether it's the fear of failure, I don't know if this is going to work, or overwhelm, I don't know where to start, or lack of time, I'm too busy, all of those center around the fear or unease of either not having the right tools or not having the right plan. I want to show you exactly how to have both. The way I automate and scale my business is by using a tool called Kajabi. It's an all-in-one online business solution that allows me to build out my entire business, my website, my sales funnels, my products, everything in one place. And it does it so seamlessly, which helps me to feel less overwhelmed, helps me to have less fear of failure, and it saves me a lot of time. And right now, Kajabi is running a special where you can get 3 months of Kajabi for one payment of $99. And this is only available for a couple more days. It ends on Friday, May 23rd. So if you're in this place where you're like, I want to jump in and now is the time, I want to overcome some of these fears, but you're just kind of holding back a little bit, there is no time like the present, because you're going to know exactly what to do each day. Because with this deal, you also get my 3 exclusive bonuses. The Kajabi Accelerator course, where I'm going to show you exactly what to do when you get on Kajabi to set it up for success. You're going to get my 25K course launch email template. These are the exact emails and email strategy that I used to launch my first course, which did over $25,000. And you're going to get the top 3 mistakes that new Kajabi users make. This is my exclusive masterclass. These are the mistakes that I discovered after helping 400 people get started on Kajabi. All of that is yours for free to say thank you for using my link, lanesebring.com/Kajabi, because that is an affiliate link. So I do make a small commission when you use it, but at no additional cost to you. Now, here's where this gets really cool. Right now, if you're thinking, all of these relate to me in some way. You're thinking, yeah, I've got a little bit of fear of failure. I've got a little bit of overwhelm, not knowing exactly what to do. I've got a little bit of a lack of time, but I want to jump in. Kajabi is going to give you everything you need to move forward with confidence, knowing that you have a plan. You're going to overcome any fear or hesitancy, and you are going to rock this. And what's cool is you have a 3-month head start. 1 payment of $99, you get access to everything Kajabi has. And at the end of that, you can decide what plan best fits you to move forward. And here's the thing, in addition to that, I have a playlist which maps out your first 30 days on Kajabi. So literally what to do step by step for your first 30 days, every single day for 30 days in a row. And that playlist is right here. So join Kajabi, lanesebring.com/Kajabi, and then check out this playlist, and I'll show you what to do step by step for the next 30 days.